Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're dialing in from. Welcome to Aforza and Neurolabs joint webinar on delivering real-time next best actions from a single photo. And that's with Aforza and Neurolabs Visual AI. Now, my name is Callum Fitzpatrick, Product Marketing at Aforza, and today I'm lucky to be joined by our great partners, Neurolabs, and with me today is Patrick. Do you want to introduce yourself, Patrick?
Hi, Callum. Thanks. I'm Patrick, co-founder and CTO of Neurolabs, and I'm super excited to be here with you today to discuss really about our customers and how they derive value from our partnership, but also to show you a little bit about how Neurolabs works and what's under the hood. Back over to you, Callum.
Thank you, Patrick. Now, we've got a really exciting agenda today. So we're going to show you how you can perfect your next best action with vertical AI. So I'm going to start off with a brief introduction to Aforza and to Neurolabs, which Patrick's going to take you through. I'm going to set the scene by talking about the challenges today that we're seeing. And then we're going to jump straight into two demonstrations. So the first one is going to be a user experience demo. So what a field rep is seeing when they're actually using Neurolabs and Aforza. And then Patrick is going to take us behind the scenes to understand all of the fantastic Neurolabs technology that allows the next best action and recommendations and image recognition to happen through Aforza. And then we're going to finish it off with some actual real customer stories of our Aforza and Neurolabs customers that are using this today and driving real business value. And then at the end, I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions. We'll have some dedicated time for some Q&A. So please put your questions into the chat and we'll do our best to answer them at the end if we have enough time. So, quick introduction to Aforza before I hand over to Patrick. Aforza is an industry cloud company dedicated to consumer goods. So on the left here, you can see we're built on the shoulders of two cloud computing giants, Salesforce and Google Cloud. And we have applications for iOS and Android, for mobile, for tablet, and we leverage the latest and greatest technologies such as OpenAI to help power Ava. Now, you could see all of those personas that we cater for. You can see in that nice kind of hot pink platform there is Ava, and that is Aforza Vertical AI. We've done that because Ava elevates every single one of those personas in your company. So no matter if you're in B2B, if you're in telesales, if you're a technical rep in the field, if you're in field sales or DMS, Ava elevates everyone. Now, on the right here, you can see we actually connect your entire route to market. So we work with manufacturers, distributors, field teams, all the way down to the retailer. And we are super excited to be extending our DMS capabilities with a Aforza Bridge. And that's integration and data transfers between manufacturers and wholesalers, distributors. So look out for a separate webinar. We've already got customers using this today. So get in touch if that sounds exciting to you. Now, Ava is adopted globally alongside our great partners, Neurolabs, and we are super excited and very proud to have been helping AG Bar become 50% more productive in every single visit, thanks to Ava's help with Neurolabs Visual AI, giving Ava all the information she needs from individual store photos. Now, who is Ava? Ava stands for Aforza Vertical AI, world leader in vertical AI coach for the consumer products industry. She helps all of your team members and delivers actual productivity gains from day one. So she never stops learning, she never sleeps, never gets sick, never takes holidays. She's always ready and operating alongside Neurolabs to deliver the perfect next best action. Now, I'm going to hand over to Patrick to give you a quick introduction to Neurolabs. Over to you, Patrick.
Thanks, Callum. Neurolabs is a visual AI company focused on the consumer product goods space. We take everyday raw data captured from the shelf, the backroom displays, and turn these into a structured visual source of truth that existing systems within brands can actually use. Our enterprise platform uses digital twins to understand products, prices, promotions, and the relationship between them in complex environments and derive KPIs such as share of shelf, availability, promo compliance, and ultimately we help brands bridge the gap between execution versus planning. We describe this as a visual AI infrastructure layer This engine sits underneath your retail execution solutions, trade promotion management, or supply chain tools, and on top of your governed data lake. And really the differentiator is it will give you both the raw data and the insights at the user-facing layer, but also directly in the data layer, so that brands and headquarters can derive insights and analytics as well. We work with tier 1 CPGs, and we partner across Europe, Africa, and US. And we partner also with field marketing agencies and Salesforce automation solutions. And all of these, what they share in common is that they have global ambitions and need a consistent way to see what's really happening across the supply chain, from off-premise and on-premise, from shelves to backrooms to menus and taps. Back over to you, Callum.
Thank you, Patrick. Now, before we jump into the demonstrations, we just wanted to paint the scene a little bit with the challenges that we're hearing from you, from all of our customers around the world about what's going on with field teams. Now, we know, if you're not using Aforza and Neurolabs, that often field teams are slow. They're sending back inaccurate data, and actually in some cases they can be detrimental and margin eroding. We start off, there's not enough time with the customer, quite frankly. Field teams that aren't using Aforza and Neurolabs are spending excessive time on manual tasks, which ultimately it reduces the selling time and it slows the execution with all of your customers. And there's mistakes made when it's all manual like this. There's low accuracy, low faith in audit data, surveys, and that data capture leads to, well, unreliable insights and inconsistent execution. Because how can you plan for next event when the data is inaccurate? Ultimately, the HQ teams are blind to execution. There's poor visibility into the pricing, into the promotions, the compliance, and it creates delays and, like I just said, ineffective decision making. Now, what we're actually hearing from you, and these are all real stories here, is there are huge challenges in getting accurate and timely next best actions. So a typical flow would look like a photo is captured by a field rep or a merchandiser. It's captured in the field and it's either uploaded there and then or uploaded at the end of day, so not even real time. Those photos are then kind of on a batch or bulk upload to a generic IR solution, and we've even heard stories of image recognition just being an offshore team manually checking products and tagging them. So those photos are bulk uploaded to, I hope it's not to those if you're using something like that. And those results are then processed, so the data from those photos, into a next best action engine. So from that data, what should we then do? What should we tell our field teams to do? So then the rep goes back, because this obviously takes a long time, days in some case. The rep goes back either the next day or a week later with a completely outdated suggestion. So, what is the point? This is, quite frankly, we believe this is unacceptable because there's no real-time insight or real-time next best action. Realistically, changes are happening, especially in fast-moving consumer goods, even just in luxury and high-end consumer retail and consumer goods. Changes are happening minute by minute, and they need real-time next best action. And this is where Aforza and Neurolabs comes into play. So we go beyond standard image recognition when we partner together. So if you start from the left here, with Aforza and Ava and Neurolabs, you've got firstly multimodal input. So Ava can understand photos, videos, audio commentary. So that photo is then passed into Aforza and Neurolabs, where we go beyond image recognition and do what's called scenario interpretation. So with Neurolabs, they detect the SKU presence. They do planogram checks. They see for out of stocks. They look at what products are being promoted. Is the correct point of sale material there? Is the pricing compliance per product and per promotion? Now, with that data, Ava can then take that information and understand the scenario that sits within. So, for example, Ava can understand that there's products on the shelf. That's great. You've got your whole assortment there. However, Ava can understand that there is an agreement, there's a promotion in place with this customer for these products to be placed at eye level and on an end of shelf display, right? They shouldn't just be on that specific shelf. And that's scenario interpretation. So the combination of Neurolabs Visual AI and Aforza Vertical AI, Ava, together brings you these real-time automations on the right. So Ava can then recommend what a rep should do in that exact moment. She can schedule a delivery, launch a new promotion, block an account, block a payment, notify an account team, send data back to other systems like your ERP, or update anyone in any channel like Teams or Slack or even WhatsApp. Now, that all sounds pretty amazing, but this is happening today with Aforza and Neurolabs customers. So on that note, I'm going to jump into a quick demonstration just to give you an experience of what that feels like for the end user. So we're going to do this really short, sharp, and fast because it is rapid, and then we're going to just slow it down. Patrick's going to take us through exactly what's happening on Neurolab's side to get those kind of insights. So I'm going to start off on Aforza in what's called a guide. So that's a guided process for a field user to capture a photo, and then we're going to pass that to be analyzed by Neurolabs. In under 30 seconds, those results are going to come back. Then from that information, Ava is going to tell me as a rep exactly what I should do in the store. Let's jump straight into it. So I'm on my tablet. I'm on Aforza Field, which is our kind of retail execution tool, our application that we have. And I'm at this particular visit. I can see my KPIs. I can see my tasks that I need to do. And in this case, I'm going to do this planogram compliance check. So when I come in here, firstly, with Aforza, I can actually see what the planogram should look like for this specific month. So we're in December 2025, if you're watching a recording of this, and I can see, right, we've got yogurts. These two yogurts should be on shelf 1, that top shelf at nice eye level, and then other brands on shelf 2 and 3. So that's all great, as long as all the yogurts are on the right shelf. So I can understand that as a rep. Brilliant. Ava also understands that. Ava knows how this planogram should be constructed on shelf. Now, all I need to do is add a photo of the shelf, and here's one I captured earlier in our local supermarket, and I can send it off to Neurolabs. And I'm actually going to start a timer to see how long this actually takes for that image recognition to come back. So what's happening is that photo is passed into Aforza Studio, our digital automation platform. And from there, it's then passed through Neurolabs workflows, and Neurolabs identifying all the products and the share of shelf on that photo. And it's already come back. So that was 21 seconds that we've got full share of shelf and product analysis. So what just happened was, as I was saying, that photo's gone through Studio into Neurolabs. They have detected all of the products, all of the pricing, the layouts, absolutely everything. The share of shelf, they've detected other SKUs there, and they've returned these results. So I can actually go and view this, and I can see all of the results here. So firstly, where this image was captured, some details, some key attributes that my, at HQ can see, report on, and search on. And importantly, I can see all of the products that have been detected on the shelf. So I can see the organic strawberry, raspberry, blueberry there. I can see the share of shelf. Now, that's great. I can see all this. Perhaps I don't even need to as a rep. The important thing is Ava understands and knows all this information now. So when I go down to the bottom and actually ask Ava, is this planogram compliant? She can come back with the results, and we can see, firstly, this planogram is not compliant. Our two brands here, Yeo Valley and Onken, they're currently placed on shelves 2 and 3. As we know, they should be on that top shelf, number 1. So in our photo, also, another reason, Onken is actually split across shelf 2 and 3 instead of all on one line. So there's 2 reasons that this has just failed. And the following actions have been taken. So Ava doesn't just analyze information, she can actually action things within the system as well. So she's tagged against the account that it's not compliant. She's scheduled a follow-up visit for me, and the compliance team has actually been notified via Microsoft Teams. She's also given me a recommendation. So as a rep, gosh, this could be my first day on the job. It's like I've got Ava, I've got a manager with me. So I've just captured a photo and I've just asked Ava, what do I do? Right? So it's really incredible, this combination of Neurolabs and Aforza together to give real-time next best action. I'm not waiting days for this. I've waited, 21 seconds for the results and a few seconds after that for Ava to tell me what to do. So the benefits of this are incredible. Real-time next best action, and think of all of the weight taken off that middle management who manages these field teams, who are onboarding them and getting them up to the same level. It means that when you have Aforza and Neurolabs together with Ava, all of your team are already at a perfect level of execution for you as a company. So that was the quick user experience demonstration. Now I'm going to hand over to Patrick, who's going to take us behind the scenes and show us exactly what has happened in Neurolabs in such a short amount of time, in just a few seconds there. Over to you, Patrick.
Thanks, Callum. I love seeing how it all comes together with Neurolabs and Aforza. In the next part, we'll show how the Neurolabs image recognition engine turns a single shelf photo, such as the one you've showcased, into structured insights. How we go from a raw image to structured information about what SKUs, promotions, or prices are present in that image. This data can then be interpreted by Aforza's Ava agent to translate into concrete actions for field teams. It can also serve as a detailed source of truth for commercial teams wanting to understand how their in-store execution compares against the planned one. And before we lift the hood on how we go from raw data to insights, we first need to introduce our CPG ontology. This sits at the core of our image recognition engine. And what is an ontology, you may wonder? We at Neurolabs define the CPG ontology as a digital representation mapping visual data like raw images coming from stores to meaningful relationships within those images. There's 3 layers that we care about. First, there's the spatial layer. Second, there's the catalog layer. And third, there's the reasoning layer. In the first layer, the spatial layer, it's important to define a few key concepts before diving in. Products, price tags, regions of interest, and promotions. These are all core concepts that we've identified and that brands want to extract from the images that they're taking. We not only want to understand these concepts, but we need to understand where they are positioned because of its importance for creating realograms. For example, the coordinates of both products and prices within an image to determine if the product is at eye level on the shelf. To summarize, the spatial layer allows us to recognize where concepts are within an image. In the second layer, the catalog, we extract information on what these key concepts are all the way down to UPC level. Using a pre-existing master data catalog that we onboard, we can match a spatial concept, such as a product on the first shelf, to an exact entry from our catalog. This catalog matching then allows us to retrieve not only the UPC information, but any metadata on the item, such as the brand, size, flavors, or other properties of interest. And finally, the third layer is where the magic happens, where we can connect the dots between where these products are located, what they are, and their relationships. We can interpret the values and quantities from price tags and differentiate between retail price and promotional prices. And we can match specific product with promotions and prices. Finally, we can understand core KPIs that are of interest to brands, such as share of shelf or stock availability. So far, we've covered the 3 core layers of our ontology and how they work together. Now let's look at a real example. On screen, you'll see a photo of an Oreo display in a Target store. From an image like this, we want to answer a few practical questions. Where are the products and what are they? Where are the price labels and what are their values? And are there any promotions? And what KPIs and insights can we extract? First, we run our spatial understanding. Our models detect key concepts such as products, shelves, or price tags. We can draw bounding boxes and segmentations around them. In this example, you can see cases such as a product placed above another product, and the realogram is able to understand that there's stacking, for example, in this situation. So that's the first level of insight: location, structure, and proximity. We also have gaps in here which signal non-availability of product. Next, we have the catalog layer. We identify what each product actually is by matching detections to the catalog we've onboarded. In this case, we can see that we have a product onboarded. We have actually two products onboarded. We have seasonal SKUs like the Halloween promo pack or fall Oreo treats. And we also have the core range in other images. We can see in this case that we understand each of the SKUs. We understand the prices as well. And most importantly, and really this is where the interesting part comes in, we combine the spatial layer with the catalog layer to apply the reasoning to build the correct relationships such that we can infer what the prices and promotions are on this product. From here, we can produce KPIs like share of shelf, display compliance, promo execution, and price presence accuracy. Although some of these KPIs may not be surfaced directly in this UI, they're available through our APIs, and the data that we return to partners like Aforza, so their AI agent can generate better guidance for field reps and better reporting for headquarters. So when you combine these layers, you answer really a few high-value questions. Are promotions executed correctly? Are price labels present? Does reality match the plan? And because it's structured data, you can also compare it to the other sources, planograms, pricing systems in TPM, or execution targets, to see exactly where things are aligned or drifting. In real stores, images can be messy. Other brands, secondary displays clutter in the background. Region of interest allows us to focus on what's really the focus for the brand. So you get cleaner outputs and more relevant insights. Before I pass back to Callum, the key message is this. Neurolabs operates across the supply chain, and we're the strongest where execution meets reality. We turn what's actually on the shelves, in displays, and even in backrooms into a single source of visual truth that brands can trust. And that's how we close the loop between what brands plan and what's actually happening across trade promotion, retail execution, and supply chains. So teams in the field and at headquarters can act faster and with confidence. Back to you, Callum.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Now, before we get to the Q&A, we wanted to tell you about one of our real live customer stories that are doing all of this, or similar to this today, and that is AG Bar. So don't just take our word for it. This is actual business value coming from Aforza and Neurolabs and Ava today. So AG Bar is one of, if you don't know them, if you're unlucky enough to not have tried some of their products, they're one of the UK's leading soft drinks companies since 1875. I'm sure you've all heard of Iron Brew, iconic drink, but also Rubicon, Boost energy drinks. They've got some incredible brands and a lovely portfolio. They've been a Forza customer for a few years now. Now, they had a challenge. So manual processes, like I said, was slowing growth. Field reps were manually capturing data. Each visit required reps to manually count the SKUs on the shelf, and oftentimes, completely under pressure. Store visits averaged around 20 minutes. So remember that. So for their old system, they had a reduced time influencing their customers. Now, with this combination with Neurolabs and Aforza and Ava now, they can capture data much faster with much higher accuracy rates. They can understand what the opportunities are there and then in the store, which gives them instant impact. And these slides that you're seeing on the screen, they're taken from AG Bar's Capital Markets Day this year. So what they do, they take a photo, Neurolabs does image recognition, the audit is automatically updated, so it's all searchable by different teams. Ava analyzes and recommends exactly what that rep should do, and all of that time saving, which has gone from 20 minutes down to around 7 to 8 minutes, can be focused and reinvested with the customer, building those relationships, uncovering the opportunities, and really delivering more value during every visit. So since then, let's go on to the business benefits. That's the exciting part for everyone. The results have been immediate. 50% reduction in data collection time. So 50% more productive. 96% accuracy in data collection. AI-driven actions in store. So reps are guided by that intelligence, and there's more time to gain shelf space, to retain it, and also maximize their value with their customers. Now, one final call to action for everyone. We have released the Ava library. So this is a catalog of vertical AI use cases for your industry. So there's 100 plus pages of ready to go use cases. It's a complete library. As you've just seen, proven use cases that drive real business impact. Got them in there with Neurolabs. They're all instant on and minimal setup required. Prompt-based, they're multimodal, so photos, videos, audio. It's not just a chatbot, and it connects into your enterprise systems with Ava's tools. So you can scan the QR code or head to that link and get your copy today. Now, you can see that there's quite a few questions that have come in live during the demo and presentation. Some technical ones on Neurolabs. Patrick, are you there to help me answer some of these?